Good morning, friends. This is Mohit Goswami from Institute of Language Teaching, English Medium, B.Ed College, Rajkot. Today we are going to learn action research. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to define action research, know the characteristics of action research, know the process of action research, and know the benefits of action research. Let's start with what is research. Every child knows what is research. Let's have an example. Whenever they find some new things around, they will make an observation first. Then they will form a hypothesis that whether the thing is eatable or not. Then they will perform the experiment by testing it. They will analyze the data, then they can find the consequences of eating the thing. Then they will report their findings to the parents. And at last, they will invite others to reproduce the results. This is the simple research process which every child also knows. Research is a process of systematic inquiry that entails collection of data, documentation of critical information, and analysis and interpretation of that data or information in accordance with suitable methodologies set by specific professional fields and academic disciplines. How many forms of research are there? There are mainly three forms of research: fundamental research, applied research, and action research. Let's understand the topic by a story. There was a school which had the best faculties, best infrastructure, and the best facilities. A teacher in class 6 took a test one day. All students excelled except 5 students: Raj, Vishal, Jigar, Sunil, and Disha got very miserable results. The teacher was shocked and wanted to do something for these 5 students. She did an in-depth analysis about the previous performance and learning environment of these 5 students. Individual students' problems were studied in depth. The teacher decided to find reasons for these happenings. For this, she inquired students' current and previous classes, talked to the parents, observed few of their classes, went through the previous performance, discussed with the students and their classmates, took the help of counselor to administer some tests, read literature related to the similar problems. The teacher concluded that their performance started deteriorating since last 3 years. They were demotivated by their teachers and friends due to low performances. They were ignored in the classes. They do not follow the teachers as their learning styles were different. In spite of complaints by their parents, they were not attended. School climate was not so focused to take care of such cases. Required coordination was not found among all the stakeholders. The teacher informed it to the school authority and had a good discussion about the consequences of the problem and convinced the authority to take measures to see its short-term and long-term effects. 2 committees were formed to initiate the change process. The committee 1 was to prepare actions to improve the condition of these students. Individualized plan considering the weakness and the learning style of each student. Remedial measures by experts and peers. Motivational measures to boost self-concept. And use of technology to speed up their learning. And the second committee was to prepare actions to improve coordination between the stakeholders and to improve the organization climate. Appoint a facilitator to improve communication among all the stakeholders. Training program for teachers and parents. Continuous monitoring and feedback. Teacher, parents, students cooperation mode was developed. The strategy 1 was for problem solving and the strategy 2 was for organizational development. Both the strategies plans were implemented simultaneously. Strategy 1 was lasted for 1 year and the strategy 2 was continued in the school for several years with the guidance of the facilitator. Teachers' method of teaching was adjusted considering the learning styles of students. Each student was taught through different learning styles. As of we know that there can be 3 kinds of learning: visual learning, auditory learning and kinesthetic learning. So that each student were taught through different learning styles. 3 different interventions was given separately to each of them, meeting their learning styles, and their cases were taken separately. Now after intervention, the test was taken again. The result of the students increased. Now all the 5 students and the teacher were happy. Now the second phase of the plan was in implementation. Quality circles were created at different levels to enhance the quality of different components. Capacity building programs were organized to enhance the capacity of each stakeholders. Training sessions were organized for teachers, parents, and administrators in different dimensions. Workshops on feedback mechanism was organized and implemented. Action implementation was continued for several years, having an impact on the improvement of the social system of the school, enhancing the overall quality of the institution. Now let's go with the theory. First of all, let's see what is action research. Action research is basically the integration of action. It means implementing a plan with the research, which means an understanding of the effectiveness of the implementation. There are some definitions. According to Blackwell, research concerned with the school problems carried on by school personnel to improve school practice is action research. According to Dr. Corey, the process by which researchers attempt to study their problems scientifically in order to guide, correct, and evaluate their decisions and action is called action research. According to Kurt Lewin, action research is 3-step spiral process of planning, taking action, and fact-finding about the result of action. Now let's have a look at characteristics of the research. The first one is commitment, which means researcher should be committed to the research work. The second one is collaboration. It is a collaborative process. There should be collaboration between researcher and the sample. The next is concern. Researcher must take good concern of the research environment. The next one is consideration. Researcher should consider and follow the scientific process of the research. And the last one is change. There will be change after the process. Let's see steps of the action research. The very first thing you have to do is identification of the problem. Here, you have to identify the problem on which you want to do the research. Suppose you have chosen the problem bad handwriting of the students. The second step is hypothesis. Here, you will hypothesize about the reasons of the problem. For the above problem, we can make a hypothesis that if less content is provided to students, their handwriting will be improved. The third step is action plan. You will make an action plan over here. Suppose here the action plan can be for some days you will provide them lesser content to write so that they can improve their handwriting. The fourth step is of data collection. Here, the researcher will collect the data after the implementation of the action plan. Here, you can have their notes during the implementation of the action plan as your data. The next step is data interpretation. The researcher needs to interpret the collected data over here. In the above problem, the researcher can check the quality of students' handwriting by comparing it with previous handwriting of the students. And the last stage is of results. Here, the researcher will discuss the findings of the research. In short, we can say that action research is a research carried out by school personnel to overcome regular school problems. Action research is systematic. It is a planned methodological observation related to one's teaching. You do not start with an answer. It must be unbiased. The observer must be objective. It does not have to be complicated or elaborated to be rigorous or effective. Must be a well-planned study before you start to collect the data. Action research projects vary in length. Length is determined by your question, nature of inquiry, research environment, and parameters of your data collection. Observations should be regular, but they do not have to be long. Action research projects exist on a variety from simple and informal to detailed and very formal. Action research is sometimes grounded in theory. It relates projects to existing theory. It means Here, you won't be finding a new theory every time, but relate your project to existing theories. Action research is not necessarily a quantitative study. The goal is to understand the situation. It can be qualitative too. Benefits of the action research. It focuses on school issues, problems, or area of collective interest. So it is in the interest of school personnels. It have potential to impact school change. Likewise, we are seeing it in the above case study that the whole environment of the school was changed. It reflects on own practice. Improved communications will be there between the school personnel, parents, and students. It has often been said, teachers leave mark on their students, but very seldom leave a mark on their profession. By Wolf, 1989. Through the process of product of action research, they will do the both. Each classroom is a laboratory and each teacher is a member of scientific community. It is teachers who in the end will change the world of the school by understanding it. Here are some suggestive areas for action research. There are student-related areas, classroom teaching and learning related areas, teacher-related areas, education administration related areas, and comprehensive areas. Thus, the action research is very helpful to teachers. Thank you very much.